Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
How are you guys doing today?
Doing very well, thank you.
Good. That's fantastic.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. I just got done watering the garden before I came up here.
And it gets pretty hot. It's hot there today, is it?
Yeah, it's 71 right now. It'll probably be in the 80s today.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be here as well.
Sun is shining, so we have another sunny day with smoke.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, we've been having a lot of smoke here, but not as bad as some people have been having it. Yeah. Well, I see Sarah. I see let's see. Oh,
I'm
Kimberly,
not Ed Hammer. Oh, shoot.
um,
Where am I?
Daphne, right? Daphne.
Daphne.
Daphne?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
Hello.
Francine.
Where am I? Yeah, I keep going in and out.
Uh, Gail, Zelda. Okay, a couple of newer folks, I think. Maybe. I mean, I never. You just never know. My memory from week to week these days, I tell you.
Well,
Um,
it's nice to see everyone.
Yeah, good to see you guys. Hey, how are you guys doing? Go ahead. I mean, you can open up your mics for a moment and just chat freely. It's not a massive group with 200 people in it, so
Well, I haven't done number 7 yet, but I noticed I needed to work on that eye. That one eye kind of just stands out, so I'm trying to fix
okay. Yeah, have any of you others worked on lesson 7?
I worked on part of it.
Yeah, I mean it just came out this week, so and they're what, hour-long lessons, so it's a lot to digest, it's a lot to put into practice. But there's a lot to show you guys, so that's why we do them. So anyway, well, let's begin here. It's at the top of the hour. Glad you guys could make it for our, what is this, our 5th critique. So thanks for taking the time to join. I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're keeping healthy and safe where you're at in the world. And yeah, let's do this first. Let's open up with a word of prayer, and then we'll talk about a couple of things, and we'll get into the critique pretty quickly here. Okay. Father, we come before you in Jesus' name and thank you for this opportunity to meet in this critique. Bless the artists that are here. I pray that after this meeting is over and as a result of this meeting, they would come away with clarity, tips, and ideas on how to improve their work, and that all that we say would be encouraging as well. Keep them in good health. I pray that you would increase their productivity, creativity, and that they would be able to finish the portrait well. So I ask a blessing on this meeting in Jesus' name. Amen.
it.
All right. Well, again, glad to have you guys here. Della is here. Della is our admin in the Facebook group and in the Realistic Acrylic Portrait School All Access membership. So glad to have you here, Della. Do you have anything you'd like to mention in terms of how we do things in the critiques?
Sure. Yeah. So we stay muted so that we don't get any background noise. And if you have something you'd like to contribute, there is a hands up button under reactions. And if you put your hands up, then I can get to you and call on you to give your comment. When we look at the critiques on the screen, when we say left, we mean our left. So on the screen, it's the left side, the right side, rather than the subject's left or right side, because it can be very confusing. Other than that, just if you have anything you'd like to say that's either positive, that you really like what's going on, or that you can see improvement, please raise your hand and we'll try and get to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Della. Yeah, Della's a real help. And, not only does she help out, in these critiques, but you'll see her in the Realistic Acrylic Portraits group and then our All Access students group as well for our members in the school, and she's just always active there and encouraging other artists, and just a huge help. And she's also a very talented artist in her own right too. So,
Thank
okay.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome, Della. So glad to have you. Well, we have a couple of new folks here, I believe. So I want to give you guys an opportunity if you'd like. I'm not going to say you have to, but if you would like to introduce yourself, you have that space right now to do so. So just go ahead, unmute yourself, say hello. Let us know a little bit about you and your art. Oh, I see a hand raised there, Daphne. Yeah. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Daphne.
I'm Daphne, not Ed Hemmer, up in Vermont, and I'm new to art. I'm recently retired with COVID and all, and exploring painting. So it's fun.
Yeah, glad to have you here, Daphne. Yeah, so many people started doing art as a result of COVID, just having more time and life kind of slowing down in a way, and yet a lot of challenges. But we've seen a lot of people start their art journey during the last few years, so it's great. Anyone else? Medi, I see your hand up.
Yeah, my name is Meti Joseph. I'm an engineer by profession, and I started painting just to get rid of the boredom during the COVID lockdown. I never painted before, never ever painted. I was not at all interested, not even interested in looking into others' paintings. But I started when I was staying home, working from home. There is nowhere to go in the evenings or weekends or anything. So I started. Then I joined an acrylic painters group on Facebook, and someone mentioned Matt's name there. And so I started watching your videos, and I painted quite a bit. I even have sold some paintings. That's funny though, because I'm just a beginner, and my paintings are not that great, but for some reason, some people like some of them. So I thought, okay, I'll paint this one, and I have some trouble, and I posted my painting on this Facebook group. So I thought I can ask for some help.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, nice to meet you, Medi, and kudos to you for already selling some of your artwork. It's a great feeling. So just continue with that. And as you continue to practice, you'll just get better and better and better, and have more and more confidence, and hopefully sell more and more work too.
Thank you. I will. I'll try.
Yeah, you bet. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and dive into the critique here. We've got 6 images potentially to do here. So I'm not sure if we're going to get to all of them, but we'll get to as many as we can. Let's go ahead and begin with Franny. Franny, go ahead and tell us about your painting, what you've been working on, and how we can help.
Well, I am really, really disappointed in the likeness. I'm not sure what to do to fix it. I've got her hair too far out, I know that, but I don't know what to do with her face, because she's way prettier than what I've got up there. So that is concerning me more than anything. I had to stop myself from looking at it last night because I was afraid I was going to go in and do something that I shouldn't. So I'm really hoping for some help with that, because, I've even measured things, and I know I've kind of got the proportions right, but I don't have her likeness, and that is bothering me more than anything.
Okay, well, thank you for your honesty, Franny. It's difficult when, the likeness kind of gets away from you.
Ugh,
And
yeah.
I actually struggle with that too, to some degree. Like when I did the sketch for the painting, it was a little off, and I just had to say, well, we'll have to dial it in at the end. And So throughout several of the lessons, just to be perfectly candid with you, I was not satisfied with the likeness in my portrait either. Still
But
not.
she looks pretty in your portrait.
Yeah, I
She does
know.
not look pretty in mine.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to let you know that it is kind of part
Yeah.
of the process. Um, Oftentimes in your portrait for the likeness to get away from you a little bit. And if you stick with it, you apply what we show you in this critique today, you'll be able to improve it. And you don't want to, obviously you want it to look really good, but we can't achieve perfection. We just strive for that. That all being said, I think you've done a fantastic job with the glazes, and I want to commend you on that, and I want you to feel good about that, because that is fuel for you to continue the process and not give up. You have to look at
Thank
the
you,
things.
Matt.
You're welcome. You have to look at the things you're doing well and really kind of rejoice in that. Glazes are not easy, and I see the smooth application of glazes on this shirt, and I'm like, this is really, really good. And
Oh, good.
I've seen other students in our school that also maybe have struggled a bit with the likeness, but they do well with the glazes, and then they tighten up the likenesses as they practice more and more. And I believe you'll do the same. All right, now let's get into some tips on how to help you with this. And you guys feel free to raise your hands as well. I'm just gonna give you one comment here, and then we'll get some comments from you guys. But the first thing I see right now, Franny, is something happening right here in the jawline. So she has more distance between the eye and the jawline here. So if you can take some titanium white, little bit of raw sienna, I think would work well. You might need to also bring in pyro orange, Indian yellow, but just try those two colors. And you'll make a glaze that's about 75% opaque. So just a little bit of matte medium to make it fluid, and then just paint it and kind of right here, blend it in. That's going to give her more width on the face. It's going to help balance out the features. So that would be thing number one.
Okay.
And let's get some comments from you guys, and then I'll continue on with maybe one or two more, depending on how many comments we get from you guys. All right, so let's hear from you guys.
Go ahead, Deanne, you've got your hand up.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I just got in. I agree with Matt on the smoothness of her shirt, and it looks good. Mine is not as good at the moment. What I see, and Matt, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is her hair has a lot of wispiness, and I think that maybe is it Franny? Your name?
Franny, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Franny. That her wispiness is a little too thick, maybe on the exterior of her hair, and so
Yes.
it makes her hair so bushy. And really, it's not. It's just the little wispiness come out. So I don't know if with your background you can come back in and remove that side, both sides actually. Yes, remove the thickness that you have there, and it's good because it's in the background, so it's easier to correct, right?
I wanted to do it, but I thought I got to wait for this critique because I
I
thought
know
the
you-
same thing.
There you go. You had it covered. You knew it all along. Yeah, you're doing really well. Another little thing that I see is her neck on the left side seems a little thick. And I don't know if you can bring it in a little bit. Am I seeing this right, Matt? That it goes down and then, yeah, right there. And then it should come in exactly. That would
Okay.
bring her neck back in to the proportions that she needs. But yeah, exactly as he's annotating. He's so good
Okay.
at that, isn't he? And then,
Yes.
bringing the hair down, bringing, that. I know all of that. So, but great job. You're doing really well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. This is what I needed.
All right.
What else? Give it to me.
All right. All right. Thank you, Deanne. I really appreciate that. And Deanne's one of our All Access members, and she's really come a long ways in her skills since she's been with us for the last couple of years. Okay, Della, I see your hand raised.
Yeah, I just have a few little comments. I think the likeness is there. I think you're doing very well. As a matter of fact, what I see is maybe her eyes are a bit large.
Okay.
The
Oh,
irises are too large, and I feel like the whole eye is probably a little bit large.
okay.
So that's one thing. And then if you go down to her nose, it's a little wide.
Okay.
Let's get over to that.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going too fast, Matt, for you to keep up with your annotating.
All right, yeah, let's just draw some benchmarks here, some angles between the features. It really helps.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
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 Oh, y'all are so helpful.
And then I would be remiss if I didn't mention her mouth. It's a little wide open. You've got the
What, like,
curvature
okay, I see.
up and down. You have the curvature really quite well, but it's just a little bit open too much, I guess.
Okay.
So if you could bring that in a bit, I think you would find that, and it's hard to get the proportion of the eyes, the nose, and the mouth, even with a grid when you're sketching. It just, sometimes if you make the grid a bit smaller, even it's easier to kind of figure out where everything goes, but it takes practice, that's for sure. But gosh, I think you're doing really well, Franny.
Thank you so much. This is exactly what I needed. Thank you this is a lot to work on, and I knew I had a lot to work on. So thank you for mentioning all of it. And if there's anything else, please tell me.
yeah, you're very welcome, Franny, and thank you, Della. Della is our mouth expert in all access. I don't know.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, she's really good. I don't know why, but yeah, we just love to hear from her on that. And thank you, Della. So one last thing, her eyebrows are a little too light, and Diane does have light eyebrows, but currently you have them far too light. So if you could just darken them again, reestablish, kind of this darker area here, which is not only the eyebrow color, but it's also the shadow of that skull socket. And so you're seeing that as well, because the eyebrows usually reside right at where our skull socket ends. So if you can reestablish them, that's going to enhance her beauty too.
Yeah, I have not done a lot with the face because I didn't want to get too much paint on there because I knew I had work to do on it. So yeah, I will do that.
You bet. And then another thing, I'm just gonna, two more things here. Her nasolabial fold could be just a bit fuller. So just kind of add on to this line. Don't erase anything or paint over or white it out, but just add a little visual weight right here with like some warmer colors like burnt sienna, titanium white, alizarin crimson, something like that. And that'll help that. And then I was noticing her teeth looked a little dark. So you can maybe
haven't done anything.
Yep, just when you come back in, I think I do touch on that. Yeah, in lesson 7 in the second half of the lesson, I show you how to add some highlights to the teeth, and we might touch on it as well in our last lesson coming up. So
perfect.
Yeah, so
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's a lot of little things that make a difference, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm in Nebraska right now, so I'm on your time zone, and it's my summer off as a educator. So I have plenty of time to work on this. This will give me something to do all day.
Good. Okay, well, fantastic. Look forward to seeing the changes, Franny.
Thank you so much.
You bet, you can do it. Okay, let's move on next to Daphne. Daphne, go ahead, tell us about your painting and how we can help. All right, Daphne, you're up if you want to unmute yourself.
Thank you for looking at this. 2 critiques ago, I had my picture up and I tried to implement the changes, and I used too much paint, I see. And right now, I forget who mentioned it on the other painting, but I could fix that hair because it is too wide. But any and all suggestions on how to move forward. I must have missed something on coloring the skin because I know I corrected quite a bit or tried to, but her hands and face are not human.
Mm, mm.
I
Yeah.
don't know if I ever glazed them. I must have missed something in maybe the sixth lesson, or I'm not sure.
Yeah, we kind of touch on all the elements a little bit at a time, and so it's just kind of in bits and pieces. So we don't just like color her skin in one step. It's like a cumulative glazing,
Yeah.
darkening the shadows, and then eventually coming in with some midtones, leaving the highlights open,
Last.
like on the
Mhm.
forehead and the nose and so on. But anyway,
Also, my painting is smaller.
is it okay?
I don't know the dimensions, but it's smaller.
Okay.
I had an old canvas that I painted over. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, I really like just kind of like Franny's glaze work. I think you've done a great job too. I see some really great work right here on her clothing. I can tell you put in a lot of layers. I can tell you've smoothed it out, and that's really awesome. I also like kind of the optical mix where you have the colors on the hair getting a little warmer as we get toward the background, and that's a nice way to do it. Has a really kind of a old world feel to it. Now as we zoom in here, let's see how we could help you just tighten
Yeah, there you go.
things up.
Wider head, wider
Yeah.
forehead.
Yeah, so kind of similar with Franny's. You might want to add a little bit right up here, using the same process I mentioned with her, the semi-opaque skin tone. And then let's zoom in. It's just a little difficult to see. It kind of pixelates, but I think we can still get an idea of what's going on here. So the eyebrow, we're losing a little bit of the kind of the beginning and ending of it, the clarity of it. And so if you can kind of tighten that up, you might need to add a little bit of that same glaze we talked about here, titanium white, pyro orange, raw sienna, something like that, I think would work well. Probably more on the raw sienna, titanium white raw sienna, because right now the skin tones are more pale, so you want to match that first.
Okay.
And just lighten up that area to get her eyebrow a bit more separated from her eye. And then it's a little difficult here to see that negative space on the sclera. And keep in mind, we will have a recording, just like we have with all of our other critiques that go up on my YouTube channel, and you guys can watch them there. So don't feel like you necessarily have to take notes now, unless that helps. But put in a mixture of titanium white and maybe a little bit of raw umber dark, and just get it some clarity on that negative space of the sclera. So what I advise you, might be different than what I would advise somebody else, and even different than the process we're taking as a class while we do this portrait, because each painting is individual and unique. And so sometimes you need to take a different process based on where you're at. So this is not something I would necessarily advise for everyone, but this is what I feel will help you to get to where you need to go. So again, I would do that. I would also put in the reflections of her eyes to get some clarity there. Then I would follow up with a darker glaze, like a raw umber dark, maybe a bit of titanium white. You're going to want to make this more opaque, like 50% opaque. Add some matte medium, add a little mist of water to make your paint fluid, but not runny.
Okay.
And just try to get a little bit of clarity, like, where the edge of the eye is, because I feel that's what you could really benefit from the most. And if you also kind of tighten up where the eyelid is, and then this upper eyelid fold crease.
Mhm.
You might need to use a little bit of a lighter glaze in here, titanium white, raw sienna, maybe a bit of burnt sienna, and just lighten it up right there.
So the titanium white, using that will correct things. It's opaque,
It's
not, so you want to use that when you're correcting it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
When you're correcting, you want to use it, but you do need to mix other colors into it,
With
or it's
it,
going to be very chalky. It's not going to match.
like the face. Okay.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, with my, I've got a lot of sketch marks that really didn't go away, a
Mhm.
pencil or whatever, so that's the haze in there, so really getting those lines in will help, thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
And the negative space, I can see what you mean by that.
Yeah, yeah. So like right here, we have an area that looks cool, and maybe that's where some of the pencil mixed. I'm not sure what
Yeah,
caused that.
and the chalk, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so that's something you can adjust now. I would say titanium white, raw sienna, pyrrole orange, and then go over this area with that kind of a glaze and just adjust that color. And that's going to help to get it to look more like what we have up here.
And Matt, it would take more than one glaze, you think? Should I be patient with that?
Yes, yes, definitely be patient. It probably will take a couple of glazes.
Okay,
And then it'll take some micro blending after that to shift
okay.
other areas into it. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing would help quite a bit. If you guys see anything, go ahead and raise your hand. There is a separation right here, Daphne, between her chin and her jaw. So if you can
Mhm.
get a little shadow right there, that's really important for her likeness.
Okay. Chins.
The eyes overall could be a little bit smaller too. So
Mhm.
as you're tightening things up, see if you can just make those eyes a little bit smaller.
Mhm.
And that's just a common thing. It's very, very common to make eyes larger. So um,
Mm.
yeah, we all struggle with that, but that's why we have these critiques.
We can take one comment from Deanne and then we'll have to move on.
All right, great.
I'll be really quick. You mentioned, Daphne, at the beginning about the hair, you're going to bring it in. While you're doing that, I thought I'd mention there's a lot of negative space in her hair too, around her neck, that we see the background. And I think that would be important at this point to add it in while you're working on your background. It adds
Thank
so
you.
much. Yeah, it gives, her neck a little bit of form, and so if you can include that, that would be great. But you're doing great. I've done the same thing as you, made the skin tones kind of, yeah, different color, and with Matt and all the artists' critiques and comments, I've brought it back. So don't be discouraged. You're gonna get it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you, Deanne. Appreciate that encouragement too. Okay, well, Daphne, I hope all this helps. All right, I see her nod and her smile.
Thanks. Yep.
That's fantastic. I appreciate your positive attitude too. You're going to do great. Okay, let's go ahead. I keep minimizing that image. Let's go to the next one. Marcia, let us know about your painting. Is she in the critique today?
I don't think she's here today, no.
Okay. Let's do a quick critique here though to help her out. All right. Well, Marcia, thanks for sharing this here, and really colorful. I love the different depictions. Each artist sees something a bit different and brings it out. And that's awesome. So you have just a real nice vibrancy here, and you really brought out her smile, and I think that's great. Nice glaze work. Really like the background and the gentle glazes you have, the gradations, that gentle shifting from dark to light. Very well done. I think the biggest thing I'm seeing right now is that just want to be careful with some of your values. You know, in the reference image, the palette is actually lighter than her clothing. So if you can add some more glazes to her clothing and darken that, I think that's going to help. And it's also going to give a little more visual impact to the whole painting by having a nice dark value in the center of it. So several more glazes to darken her clothing. I mean, 5, 6, 7, I don't know how many exactly. It takes quite a few to really get it to what it should be. So you want to be patient with that process and add some more glazes according to the color mixtures that we show in the class. And then for her face, let's just zoom in here because that's the part that's most important, right? And yeah, so with her face, there's maybe a few areas that can be just kind of tightened up, like the bottom contour of her jawline. You know, it's hard to tell with yours, you know, if you have it, you know, truncated like that, or if that's the line you want to go with. But I would just kind of tighten that up a little bit. You can use titanium white, raw sienna, pyro orange, burnt sienna to mix a glaze that matches what you have here and then blend it in. So in other words, it'll match this and it'll make that a little lighter and you can get that contour. You'll want to also look at her eyes and get the eyes a little more slender, vertically speaking. Right now, they're just open too wide. So if you can shrink them a little bit that way, that's going to help. Again, you'll need to use some semi-opaque colors matching the color in question. Titanium white, burnt sienna, and raw sienna are really good colors to make an opaque skin tone. And then you can adjust it by adding pyro orange, Indian yellow, depending on how light the value is. The lighter the value, the more vibrant colors you usually need to add. Yeah, so just shrinking her eyes down a little bit, painting above this area semi-opaquely will help. Eyebrows could be a little straighter. Right now they're just a little bit too curved. The nose, you want to get a little bit of clarity on that nose wing and kind of darken that shadow a little bit. The mouth could come out a little further to, well, not quite that much, a little further to the right. This left edge could be rounded a bit. The left side could be raised up a little as well. And then it could be opened just a bit further on the bottom, and then it kind of comes up right here. You also want to really identify the teeth where they're at. Make sure you got those two larger teeth in the right place, and then the smaller teeth get smaller, and then they're also on the side, right? We're seeing the two front teeth, frontal view, so they look larger. The teeth on the side are foreshortened because we're not seeing them in their true width, so they got to look narrower. So those are just some of the changes you could make to improve it even more. But it looks like you're having fun with it. I really can tell that you're having fun with it. You're enjoying it. And I like the shadows on her palette. The brushes are coming along nicely. And I like the separation of the shadows here. So yeah, I would just continue the process. Maybe flatten out the hair a little bit on the top. But Marcia, you're doing great. You're doing great. So if you guys see anything real quick, you could raise your hand. Otherwise, we'll move on to the, hey, we got somebody. All right.
Go ahead, Daphne.
Yep, you need to unmute yourself, Daphne. Takes a little, there we go.
Sorry. Just a comment on how well those brushes turned out in her beginning of her. I mean, this is 3/4 the way through the portrait, but that's great foreshortening and the use of the glazes piled up. Like, I mean, that's really good.
That's great. Yeah.
In my opinion, but
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Thanks for
thanks.
sharing that, Daphne. I agree. Yeah, the brushes, she's got a great job foreshortening and showing all the angles. Look very good.
Yeah.
You bet. Thank you. Okay, well, so Marcia, I hope this helps, and look forward to seeing your progress on it. Continue to share it in the group. Let's move on next to Margaret. Margaret, are you here today?
I don't think she's
Oh,
in the meeting.
Okay, all right.
it's
So,
real.
all right, so here's Margaret's image is a little out of focus, but we'll do our best to see what's going on here. Okay, so, well, Margaret, this is a really nice portrait. I really like the smile you've captured. You really brought out Diane's beauty, hair, nice waves, and then really good structure on the shading. That's very nicely done. Good cast shadow from her chin onto her neck. You got some good contrast in the tonal values with the clothing here. Decidedly darker than her facial values and the palette. So that's really good. That gives it a lot of visual impact. So let's zoom in here and see how we could advise you. Okay, so what I'm seeing would be her eyebrow looks like it's arched up just a little bit, you know, so it's kind of throwing off her likeness. There is, well, let's just zoom out a little bit so it's not quite so blurry looking. Right here, this area is a little bit lighter. You know, the hair is wispier, and I think that dark shadow kind of throws off her eyebrow. So I would use a semi-opaque tone on the top and kind of lighten this area a little bit. Additionally, it's hard to tell, but I can't really make out that upper eyelid fold crease. But I think you want to really dial that in and its position where it's at. And just also get it a little bit closer to the edge of the eye right up here. So you don't want to have it coming up all the way up there, which it appears to, even though it's hard to tell with the photo as it's blurred out. The iris could be a little bit smaller. So that's kind of again, a common issue. But if you really look at that negative space, you know, a lot of times we're only looking at the positive space of the pupil and the iris. But if we pay attention to the shape of the negative space, the sclera, that'll really help us to balance out those two sizes and shapes and get them accurate. And you can still do that, you know, just painting on top with a mixture of titanium white and a smaller amount of raw umber dark. Yeah, so other side as well, you want to tighten that up a little bit. You know, get this upper eyelid fold crease a little bit darker and really iron out the shape a bit more. The eyebrow here, you want to get that dark shape right here, because again, that's part of the structure of her skull socket underneath. And so we're seeing that shadow. This part here, this nasal bone could be a little bit darker. And then you want to get that shadow under the nose wing kind of darker as well. You've got some great midtones. Midtones are fantastic. Now it's time to dial it in with some of those darker values and just seeing those forms. And you can add that right on top with raw umber dark and alizarin crimson, maybe a little burnt sienna and a touch of titanium white mixed together. Mouth is looking good. Yeah, so again, you want to see that slight angle and just make a little bit of an adjustment there, lifting up this left side of the mouth higher than the right. And then there's a nice highlight on the lips, which you can get. And we haven't quite done that in the lessons yet. So nasolabial fold could be tightened up just a bit as well. Okay, so there's a few things for you that you could do to adjust her face, but boy, really, really good job on it. And hands, they're coming along well. I would just continue the process. We get some shadows underneath the fingers, a little bit stronger shadow in between these two fingers. Get a darker shadow in there. Raw umber dark, alizarin crimson, Things like that will work well. Thumb hole could be rounded off just a bit. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing here. So Margaret, great job on this. Like the background, really like the way it's lighter in the middle. You guys are doing a great job on that as a class. So kudos to you for that. And that really pulls us right in. So well done there. Okay, I'm going to get going here on this, but Margaret, I hope this helps. Keep up the great work. Okay, let's see where we're at. We're making good progress today. All right, I love
We
it.
are.
Let's move next to Kimberlyn. I think Kimberlyn's in the meeting today. Go ahead, Kimberlyn. Tell us about your painting and how we can help.
Well, I worked on a little bit on 7. I've got the right side of her face. I've got it. She's got more of a like a big old chunk there. The hair, I put color on it, and I think I lost part of it. And also the neckline. I'm losing the neckline somehow. And there's probably lots of other things, but
Well, Kimberlyn, thanks for showing us. You've made some great progress since last time we saw it. And I want to commend you on your gradations, especially on her face. Those are phenomenal. I just hope you really, just receive that commendation, because that's not easy to get that level of smooth shading like you have. I mean, just look at all these levels of shading here and how smooth it looks. That's very well done.
thank you. I'm not sure about my color. Are my colors going the right direction? I mean,
They could get a little bit warmer in the highlights. It's the only thing I'm seeing. All right. And some of the shapes could use improvement, like so the actual structure, but I really want you to feel good about how smooth you've done the shading, because that's not easy with acrylic.
well, thank you.
Yeah. So just really, boy, continue on with what you're doing here. So yeah, structure wise, you could adjust a few things like, and if you guys see anything, go ahead and raise your hand. I think we have time for some comments. Like her eyebrow, on the left could be a little bit thicker. Okay. And then the upper eyelid fold crease could be defined just a bit more. And then I would say, let's see here, the tear duct, maybe define that a little bit more with pyrrole orange. So a little warmer tones right inside that area by the tear duct. Pyrrole orange, naphthol red, maybe a bit of burnt sienna, titanium white. You just want to use almost like the same color you use for her lips. Use that right there.
So pyrrole orange, is that's the red orange? And what's naphthol red?
Naphthol red is it's another red. It's like cadmium red.
Okay.
But you will want to also mix it with burnt sienna and titanium white to adjust it so it's not too strong. If you use those two colors just without anything else mixed in, it's going to be like this big red spot, So you do have to adjust it and mix it into some other colors. And burnt sienna and titanium white will kind of tone it down some. But you'll still have that redness in there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So the nose, love the shading on the nose. That's really good. The nasolabial fold comes down a little too far. So if you can lighten this up here a bit and then darken the nasolabial fold up there, that's going to help.
Okay.
Raise up the mouth a little bit on this left-hand side, and that's going to help too. And it looks like her yeah, her teeth could be just a bit longer, like showing more of her teeth in the mouth.
Okay.
This
Yeah,
dark crevice could be a little bit longer too. Okay, I want to get some feedback from you guys. Go ahead. Your thoughts.
Go ahead, Deanne.
This is really, really great. Is this Kimberly? Yes. Like Matt said, the skin tone, the gradation, they're really, really nice. Am I seeing that maybe the face is a little wide, especially on the left side? Her cheek or the whole, it goes down straighter than what she has, than what you have at the moment. That would help. None of us want a puffy face, right? So that would bring it in quite a bit if you, like he's annotating, if you could do that. So I guess you would bring more hair in to the side to bring in the face, and then bring the contours on the other side, the same thing. Yes, look how much that the difference that makes, how he's annotating it. But you're doing well. I'm enjoying looking at this, and it's really nice.
I waited and had an order of the raw umber dark. And what I noticed is I had Arteza raw umber and I added black to it, in the beginning, and it didn't seem right. And then when I added a little bit of raw sienna to my burnt umber, it came closer to the raw umber dark, which was really kind of bizarre.
Yeah, every manufacturer has different ways of doing their pigments for sure. But Deanne, thank you so much, Deanne, for your feedback there on the jawline. That's going to be really helpful.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's see here. Let's zoom out just a bit and give you one last tip on the rest of it. So the brushes are coming along really well. You got a nice separation between the handles and the ferrule. So those look really realistic. That's great. Maybe add some glazes, like pyrrole orange, a bit of raw sienna to the hands, and that'll help that come along. And maybe a glaze over her face, just kind of, darkening the skin tones a little bit, but leaving these little spots open, on the cheek and the nose. But just kind of put a warm glaze of, I would say, pyrrole orange, raw sienna. I think those two colors should work pretty well to warm it up. That's what I'm seeing, that the skin tones need to be warmed up, and make that glaze very faint, like a 90% or 95% matte medium, 5% paint, very faint. But again, when you glaze it, just kind of leave these areas open, and that'll give you a nice sense of gradation and highlights in those areas. So,
Okay.
But yeah, great job in this, Kimberlyn. I hope all the feedback helps.
Yes, thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Matt, Franny has just a quick question.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I have to go at 11, so I should have asked this during my critique. For making the hair wispy, thinning, getting all that puffiness out,
Mhm.
do I just want to use an opaque? Do I just want to white it out or use an opaque mix to blend it into the background? Just not sure how to do it.
I would say, let me just pull up yours really quick here.
I'm sorry, I
That's
don't
okay.
want to take over the whole thing.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It's just a quick question. Just match the colors in the background with like a titanium white, raw umber dark, maybe a bit of raw sienna. You might also add a little bit of burnt sienna to match some of the tones of the hair, and
Okay,
and then make it maybe about 30% opaque, and just kind of
okay.
glaze over and soften it up. Don't like just blot it out, but just soften it up.
All right, great. Thank you. I'm glad I asked because I wouldn't have done that.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Sounds good, Franny. Well, we'll see you later.
Thanks so much. All right, bye.
You're very welcome. Thanks for joining. Okay, we've got one more critique today. Medi, go ahead and tell us about your painting and how we can help.
My some areas are really dark. For example, the mouth, under the shadowed area around the chin, the neck area. Those are really, I think I need to work on that. Then I did not work much on eyes because I was too afraid to do that, because I thought I will make it, I'll mess it up. So I was waiting until the critic to start reworking on this. So the lips were really dark. It smeared a little when I did the sealing, and I did not whiten it out, but I don't know if I should do that. Then I applied some pink over that, but then now that is the main thing that's on the face that's too dark. Then I have some trouble with hair. Yeah, fingers, especially on the one that she's holding the brushes. I think I need to define a little more. It looks like it's too thick. Then I don't have raw umber dark. So I want to know what colors I can mix to get it. I got Nova paints, but I ordered 2 raw umber instead of raw umber dark. It got messed up.
Okay, yeah.
Then her shirt is like, I could not get the light green color that you had in lesson, I think lesson 4 or 5. It was like really bright green color, but mine turns out olive green all the time.
Okay. Well, Mehdi, thanks for sharing this today, and we're glad to have you here and see your progress. You have a lot of questions. We'll try to answer as many as we can. You've done a great job. Just want to commend you on, again, the glaze work, getting many layers on her clothing. I think you've done that very well. And the palette is very smooth, and you've got that nice angularity of the wood grain, which is what we're trying to emulate as we paint it. And you've done that very well. Good contrast between her clothing and the palette. That's great. The brushes are looking nice. Hair is very well done. I like the little waves there and the randomness that you have, the smaller locks on the side and the larger locks down here. You saw that very well from the reference photo and incorporated that into your portrait. So great job on that. Now, regarding raw umber dark, just to answer that question first, if you have just regular raw umber, I would recommend to use that. And when you're mixing any glazes, generally, you're going to be mixing ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson with it to make, like your darker values, like your blacks. And you just add more ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson to compensate. And then for the rest of it, really, because we are glazing, regular raw umber would work fine. From what I've seen, from other paint brands, it's very similar to raw umber dark. Raw umber dark is just a little darker. Now, regarding her face, let's just help you with a few things there. You're talking about the lips getting a little dark. So, that's something, you can lighten up with Pyro Orange or Cat Red light, if that's what you have. And Titanium White, maybe a little bit of Indian Yellow, just to warm it up a little bit, because that Titanium White cools down the reds and shifts it more to a violet kind of color. So you could add a little of that. You also want to glaze in something for her face with more of a yellowish tint to get that in there. We've got some reddish tints in. Now I would say add a glaze of raw sienna. I would say just raw sienna mixed with matte medium would work really well, actually, for just getting more of a yellowish tint into her face. And as you glaze, you could leave this area open here. You can also come back and add the highlight later.
I haven't done much on the face because I was too afraid to try it on, mess it up and stuff. So I haven't done anything other than that light pinkish color.
Okay, yeah. So I think if you go ahead and add more of the yellowish tint to it to balance out the red,
Mhm.
so the skin tones are going to look more natural, and
Okay.
you're going to like what you're seeing more, and it's going to give you more of an idea what to do next. Because you got to get to the next foundational point before you can add more, right?
So, mhm.
Everything builds on top of everything else. It's like building a house. So
Right.
yeah, so don't be afraid. You know, that's the nice thing with acrylic. You can always fix it. You can always go on top opaquely. It's not watercolor. So yeah, just go ahead and try it out, and we'll be here to help you, and you'll finish well.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. So with her eyes, what I'm
Mm.
seeing is maybe she could use a little more of a curvature
Okay.
on the eye, and the eyes do look a little bit large, a little close together. We want to have a little more separation between the edge of the eye and her temple. So you could bring that out a little bit, like I've mentioned to some of the other artists here with titanium white and maybe a bit of burnt sienna would match your color here better. Um, and yeah, and try to get kind of more of a roundness in the eye, get the iris smaller. So again,
Mhm.
same kind of thing like we've mentioned with some of the other paintings, more of that negative space there of the sclera. Other eye, same kind of thing, more of the negative space.
Mhm.
Um, and getting a little more of a blockiness. There's actually a couple different angles we're seeing on her eye here. 1, 2, 3 that you're going to want to get in there to really get that likeness achieved.
Yeah, actually, I haven't touched the eyes much of yet because of what you are seeing is probably from smearing.
Okay.
So I have to work on that.
Yeah. So, however, whatever process, gets you to where you're at, you can definitely make some shifts and adjustments. The nose right now, you'll want to add a little bit of shading here to round it off. It currently looks a little flat.
Oh, okay,
So if
got
you
it.
could
Now I see
just,
that.
yep,
Yeah.
just round it off a little bit like this.
Mhm.
Add some shading right here to this side. That's going to round it off. Kind of define that nostril on the left side. That'll help. The nasolabial fold. Yeah, that'll help and give it a little more three-dimensionality. Okay, let's get some feedback from you guys. Go ahead, your thoughts here for Medi.
Go ahead, Deanne.
Hi, Medi.
Hi.
I love what you've done all to this point. And I hear you when you talk about being afraid. I was like that when I started about 5 years ago. I was so afraid to touch it. The sketch was good. I thought, oh my gosh, why would I
Mhm.
put paint on it? I think we all do that.
I'm
But
still like that, Deanne.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yes. Well, so am I. So, but don't be afraid. Just go slowly, a little thin layer at a time, and you'll get it. Look where you are at the moment. Nice. The only thing that I was going to bring up, and I think Matt was getting to it, is her mouth. And I'm gonna, get into Della's section here. She's usually the one that comments on mouths, but I'm gonna try. You can correct me, Della. So I see that on her right side, you sort of dip down on the bottom lip there, and
Oh, okay,
it
got it.
really goes straight across nicely. There's a nice wave there, and you have to use the skin tones to try to correct the bottom lip there to remove that little dip you
Extra.
have. You see it? Yeah, I thought
Yes,
you
I
would.
see it now. Yeah.
Yeah, and on the other side, I think that you brought it down really nice. The corner where he's drawing is nicely, but it goes down a little bit again. It's too pointy, so round that off, and I think her top lip is thinner, right? Especially on the left side. Uh, um, that one, and yeah, I think if you make them a little thinner, that would look like her a lot more. And again, we have to darken both corners. Matt continually repeats that to me because I always forget too. So if you darken those shadows, then it really brings out that mouth. But Medi, don't be afraid. You just go for it. You're doing really well.
Thank you. Actually, I want to mention this. I sketched my parents' portrait, two different ones. When I started watching Matt's video, it looks nice, but I'm too afraid to color it. So it's still in the pencil sketch state. Because
Just do light layers to start with and go slowly and you'll get it. I look at what you've done up to here. You're really good. So keep going.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for the critic.
Thank you for that, Deanne. Really encouraging and helpful. All right, Della, go ahead.
Well said, Deanne. You did very good. I would have said all the same things. The one thing that really jumps out at me is her face isn't wide enough. If you look on the right side, you can see that there's a much greater distance between the edge of the mouth and the edge of her face, and as well at her eye. And I think I think on the right, Matt, I think once you widen that, it will look more like her.
Okay. I thought there is something wrong with this narrow. I could feel that there is something narrow, but I could not pinpoint where it is narrow. I thought it's just the chin area.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
But if you bring the eye in like Matt was talking about, it would be wide enough, wouldn't it?
Okay.
No, I don't think
It
so.
would be, okay.
On the right anyway.
maybe
On
so,
the left,
yeah.
I think it's not too bad if you bring the eye in. Then
Yeah,
on the
that's
left,
fine.
it should be not too bad, but on the right, it definitely needs more width.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Della. It's a very important observation. Yeah, well, I think that'll help a lot. So, Medi, I hope all these tips help.
Yes, it will definitely help. Now I can get rid of my fearful thoughts that I'll mess it up.
Oh, don't worry, just keep going.
Yeah, I haven't painted human faces.
It's
Well,
tricky.
whatever I did was mostly dogs and cats and some landscapes. That's all. So human face, and especially so since it's someone that we know and everyone can say that it doesn't look like her or him. So because of that, I'm too fearful. Now I think I need to get rid of that. Need to move forward. Anyways, thanks so much for all your comments, suggestions. I'll keep working on this.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Medi. Yeah, you're very courageous, and all of the artists here, you're very courageous for painting a portrait of a person. It's not easy, and you guys are doing it, so I want to commend you on that. Well, we're just a bit over time, but hey, we got all 6 critiques done, so I'm happy about that. I hope you guys received a lot of valuable tips and encouragement to continue on in your portrait painting. Yeah, so fantastic job. Thank you for showing up here. We'll have one more critique next week and one more lesson coming up as well. And then we'll be opening up the All Access membership. I'll tell you more about that soon. But for now, enjoy the process. Thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing here. And you guys are doing great, so keep up the great work.
Have a great week, everyone, and happy painting.
You too.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you.
Matt.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you, everyone.
Bye.
All right, God bless.
Bye-bye.
Take care, guys. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again, Della.
Bye.
Bye.